This video I'm going to answer the question, can you bind multiple receivers together? And that answer would be yes. However, you have to really pay attention to what receivers you're trying to bind together. They have to be the same. In other words, you can't use a DSM-X and a DSM-2 receiver. And sometimes you can't go from Spectrum to Lemon RC, for example. So if you're trying to bind receivers and they don't work, chances are they're not the same type. Doing some FPV racing at night, and the batteries that we're using only last about 2.5 to 3 hours. So to get more time out of the batteries, then we need to unplug them when we're not using them. So in order to do that, we're going to be using these receivers hooked up to a transmitter, and whenever I want the lights on, I simply turn them on, and whenever we don't want the lights on, we turn them off, and therefore we will get a longer life out of the battery. So now let's look at the setup. I have this receiver as being the first one. I have the ESC plugged into it. I also have the bind plug. Then I have two other plugs plugged in. These are male to male. What I have in the next receiver is a bind plug, and then one of the male to males coming off of this receiver. But you notice I've pulled the signal wire because I only want power going from one receiver to the next. I do not want the signal wires connected. So therefore I just pulled that third wire. And so I have the source going from this receiver to this one, and then also from this receiver to this one. And then I jump from this receiver to this one with a source wire, and then here from this receiver to this one with a source wire, from this receiver to that one, and from that receiver to that one. So in reality what I've done is I've connected all of the receivers together so that I have one battery to plug up, and it's going to light all of the receivers. Okay, so let's go ahead and see about getting them all bound. So we turn on the transmitter with the bind button in. All of them are blinking. And we will give it a moment, and let's see if they come on. Okay, so it failed to accept the bind. So this is what we do in order to remedy this. So you can see there it failed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the first receiver, and I'm going to disable it from all of the other receivers. So I'm just going to bind this one first. We're just going to bind one receiver here. So we're going to go ahead and plug this up, turn this on, hold the bind button, and the light over there is what we're going to be activating. So I'll let go of the bind button. The light comes on. That light over there is off now, and it should come on when I flip the switch. It did. Turn it off. So now this is bound and it's correct. So now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect that, turn this off, and now I'm going to go ahead and power or reconnect all of the other receivers to one another. And now we're going to see if we can't bind all of them together. So we're going to try it again. Power it up. Okay. So now we have all the lights on. If I throw the switch, that should come on and go out. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull all of the bind plugs. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery, turn off the transmitter, disconnect all of the male-to-male plugs. because at this point I have 7 receivers bound to that particular model on that transmitter. So with that, I should be able to connect the power and plug them up, and then whenever I want the lights to come on, I throw that switch and all of the lights will come on. We'll just start with this receiver right here. We'll just take that one at random. So I'm going to turn on the power here. I'm going to plug up, plugging into the throttle channel. And now I'm going to add power. The light should come on. It is on. That light over there should turn off. Now if I turn on this switch, that light comes on and then it goes off. Also, if I turn the transmitter off, the receiver's light's going to go off. It's going to go into fail-safe and nothing is powered. But if I want to turn my lights on, then I'm just going to turn my transmitter back on. The receiver's going to rebind there or reconnect, and now my light is on, my light is off. Okay, so that's this receiver here, so I'm going to set it aside, and let's just grab this one here. So, and actually I want to turn that on, and then I'm going to plug this in, and it should connect, and now this light should quit blinking. And now when I throw the switch, the light's on, the light's off. And again, so I'm going to disconnect. We'll set that receiver aside. Let's grab this receiver. We're going to plug it up. Okay. Actually, before I plug it up, I need to turn the transmitter on. And then I can plug this up. It's going to connect. That light's going to quit blinking. Now it's connected. So now if I throw the switch, power's on, power's off. I'm just going to disconnect, set that one aside. Let's go ahead and turn the transmitter off. Transmitter back on. I'm going to power this receiver. The light's going to come on. That light's going to quit blinking. Throw the switch, lights on, throw the switch, lights off. I'll disconnect here, turn the power off there. That's 4 receivers so far. Let's go ahead and turn the power back on. Plug this into the throttle channel. We connected. The light's going to quit blinking. Throw the switch, power's on, power's off. Disconnect, turn that off. Take the other receiver, power on, plug this into the throttle channel. That light's going to quit blinking. I'm going to throw the switch, the light's going to come on, lights off. And the number 7 receiver, I'm going to turn on the transmitter, plug into the throttle channel. That light's going to quit blinking. Now it's connected. Light on. Light off. So there's how you bind 7 receivers to one transmitter and have it so that you can operate 7 different lights. And I'm using a brush speed controller